Joining us now is retired Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus, familiar face to many because he's the former IDF spokesperson, now a senior fellow at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, and General David Petraeus, the retired four-star general and former director of the CIA, served for 37 years in the U.S. Army, including as commander of the International Security Assistance Force and as the commander of the U.S. Central Command. Thank you both very much for coming on the program. Appreciate it. All right, Colonel, let me start with you. From the Israeli perspective, he's now dead. Does this mean that there may be more flexibility to make a deal to end this war?
Well, yes. Good evening, Dan. Hello, Sir General. Pleasure to be here with you. And it's a good day for Israel. It's, as the president said, it's a good day for America. And I think it's a good day for the free world because a bloodthirsty terrorist has been killed, and not in a very special fashion, ordinary clashes on the ground like you portrayed, which in itself, I think, is a story. I think that what Israel will try to do now will be to leverage this fortunate event on the ground and turn it into a strategic achievement by messaging to Hamas and to the remaining leaders of Hamas that if you lay down your weapons, if you surrender, and most importantly, hand over the hostages, then this will be the way out for you, and you can save yourselves and you can save your family, and we will make it worthwhile for you. That, I think, is what Israel will be focusing on, and that's the really only big thing that's changing on the tactical level. Second point, in terms of the rest of the war that Israel is fighting on 7 or 6 additional fronts, 7 total. Today, we had 5 soldiers killed, or we reported that 5 soldiers were killed in southern Lebanon fighting Hezbollah, and Israel is still going to retaliate against Iran. So those are still open fronts that are very much active, where Israel will continue to fight until we achieve victory. Last point, I think that the leadership of Hamas is now transitioning from local Gaza leadership, which has been centralized around Yahya Sinwar, and it is now stationed in Qatar. This country that enjoys a lot of American support is now where the center of gravity, politically and militarily speaking, where Hamas will be. And I think that's an important point to look forward, also in terms of negotiations and in terms of applying pressure on Hamas leadership outside of Gaza to actually end the war.
So, General Petraeus, but the reality is Hamas is not going to just release the hostages and put down their weapons. And so, from a strategic perspective, does this change the negotiation? Does this change the balance of power when it comes to that negotiation? Or is this really just going to be more of the same, do you think, for the short term?
Well, first of all, good to be with you, Dan. Jonathan, great to see you again. I think it actually makes it more difficult. You did have command, control, and communications after a fashion with Yahya Sinwar in charge of both the political wing and the military wing following the death of the political wing leader, of course, in Tehran some months ago. I'm not sure who negotiates now. I don't know who you talk to. Is there actually any central command, control, communications? Will his brother take over? Will he be able to establish control, given that the operational security that's required is so extreme? So I think this results in a more decentralized situation inside Gaza. I think, frankly, what really needs to happen is there needs to be a commitment by the prime minister to a political vision for the future of Gaza, which for the first time says, we're going to get Hamas out of this completely. We're going to establish security. We're going in and we're going to stay, not just conduct these raids. And then we're going to provide a better life for the Palestinian people. That will enable bringing in Palestinian security forces trained by the Americans in Jordan. Then Arab forces will come in, organized humanitarian assistance, reconstruction, restoration of basic services. You do it sequentially from north to south, a series of walled off gated communities, as we called them during the surge in Iraq, which worked in Fallujah, Ramadi, Baquba, Mosul. This is how we broke the back of al-Qaeda in Iraq and the Sunni insurgents, destroyed them in the end. Keep in mind, destruction means that they cannot reconstitute. And right now in Gaza, Hamas is able to reconstitute, albeit without the weapons that used to come through the Rafah crossing in the south and underneath the southern border between Gaza and the Sinai, which now Israel rightly controls and should not give up. So I agree with Jonathan, make that offer. I don't think it's going to be, there's no response going to come to that. I don't think overall, you're going to have to go in and establish security. Without security, the future is just absolutely uncertain. And the political vision is lacking, and the future for the Palestinian people in Gaza is one of humanitarian catastrophe, frankly, at this point in time. And only if you do what I'm advocating here can you have a possibility of, again, Palestinians in Gaza, Israelis, Jews in particular, living side by side in peace. Without that, you have a festering wound that will require continued intervention and some continued casualties as that takes place. Hamas getting less and less capable, but still very numerous. So I think that's, Dan, where this should head. I'm not sure, frankly, that the political coalition in Jerusalem will allow that to happen, though.
Yeah, and Jonathan, you mentioned Qatar. Do you think that Israel's next phase in this may be to target some of the leaders there?
So, I mean, Khalid Mashal, who is the current interim leader of Hamas, he's waiting final confirmation from the Shura Council, the religious political council, but he's the leader now of Hamas, and he's been enjoying the good hospitality and services of the Qataris for many, many years. He's also accrued billions of dollars in the time doing so. And I think that in terms of leadership and where to push and who to negotiate with, that is what Israel will do.
Jonathan Conricus, thank you so much.